London and Lincolnshire, which is in eastern England. 2 more people have been detained on suspicion of conspiracy to murder. It's emerged that both Islamic extremists marching in 2007, among them Michael Adebolajo, one of the alleged Woolwich attackers, now undergoing treatment in hospital after being shot by armed police. He was part of the now banned extremist group Al-Muhajirun. It's emerged that both men were on the files of the UK's domestic security agency MI5, but not considered high risk. The soldier killed in the attack was 25-year-old Lee Rigby, who was married with a 2-year-old son. He was a member of the 2nd Battalion, the Royal Regiment of Fusiliers, and had seen active service in Afghanistan.
I want to tell you.
In Woolwich, there remained shock and disbelief. Early orders that soldiers should not wear their uniforms in public were quickly countermanded when the government's Cobra Emergency Committee decided that would not be the right response. One former intelligence expert said that defeating every threat was impossible.
When does a person who expresses radical views, who joins a radical group...
People, you have a world possessed now. It's possessed by a very high order. I don't want to get into that, but I want to tell you something. When President Eisenhower left office in his farewell address, this is before President Kennedy in 1960 take office. President Eisenhower gave a farewell address, and he warned the nation. He warned the nation about the military-industrial complex. He warned them so bad, it was a threat. This was 50 years ago. The general who was the general of generals for World War II, who fight the Nazi threat, and thought he won. He thought he won. General Eisenhower, Dwight David Eisenhower, thought he won World War II. He thought he won too. He beat the Nazis. But the Nazis are the experts and inventors of the Hegelian dialectic. It's a trap you can't get out of. It's made by Satan, who can change himself, change his skin, change his color, change his form. He's the great deceiver. He's going to set you up, and you're going to think you're fighting your enemy. And as soon as it's over, you're going to find out something else is true. To make that fight not for you. This happens all throughout history. Look how evil moves throughout the world in war. The evil moves through these conquering peoples and all around the world. It's moving different ways. Bondage and oppression and war. Went through World War I around Europe. Went with Nazis. Then over to Japan. And into Russia and back. And over to Korea. And Vietnam. And over to South America and Guatemala. Into Africa and Angola, and Zimbabwe, Libya and Tunisia and Egypt and Israel and Syria and Palestine, Turkey, to Armenia, to Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan. It's gone everywhere, you know. But what I want to tell you about President Eisenhower, General Eisenhower, who come back after the war and become president. the most powerful general of our time. And when he was leaving president, he gave a speech and warned the people. He says, now we have these big companies making all the stuff for war. We never had that before. When we had war, we used to gather together and get our stuff and go fight. But now we have a military-industrial complex that thrives on war. Now, the first time I saw this speech was about a year or two ago. Something less than 2 years ago on YouTube. And it kind of shook me a little bit. Because I realized, like, right after that, John Kennedy came in. And John Kennedy wanted to reveal the secret societies, and he was killed. Well, today I saw a video on YouTube which came out a couple of weeks ago of a man who was a CIA official. His name is somewhat obscured as to who he really was. Joe Dolans is the name he gives. There's some very real, believable testimony about his experience in the military, moving into the CIA, and his assignments that moved him up to work on MJ-12 and Blue Book projects, which had to do with the alien deception and the government's attempt to find more research about this. Now, his story goes, his CIA boss said, we have a new job. And he went to meet the president. And they got an order to go to Area 51, Air Force military base that has the history about Roswell from 1947, and find out what's going on there. Because the president had sent MJ-12 over there to get stuff, and they came back and they said, these guys won't tell us nothing. And the president was pissed. And the president, you're going to have to listen to this, but the president was ready to take the First Army and invade Area 51 base. President Eisenhower was ready to attack his own country because something was going on. Now, something happened further because President Eisenhower sends the man out there, the team out there, to further investigate. And they come back. And guess what? President Eisenhower couldn't do it. Something happened more secret than you're going to hear to put down President Eisenhower. And that's why he gave that speech when he was leaving office that was so threatening and ominous. I'm going to play a little bit of this here. I want you to listen to his story. He's old and he's going in for some hospital care here. And
so my boss came to me and he says, we've both got a new assignment. And he says, oh, I said, where are we going? Oh, he says, we're going to the Capitol. We're going to be part of the Eisenhower push. He's trying to find out something about, all about these aliens that MJ-12 was supposed to find out, but never sent back reports to him.
The MJ-12, the UFO control group, were they calling it MJ-12
yes.
at that time?
Yes. They called us in, went into the Oval Office, and President Eisenhower was there and Nixon, and they said, we called the people in from MJ-12 from Area 51 and S4, but they told us that the government had no jurisdiction over what they were doing. So being a general badass general. You didn't tell him to go to hell without any real good reason, you know. So he said, I want you and your boss to fly out there. I want you to give him a personal message. And he says, I want you to tell them, whoever is in charge, tell them that to get in, they have this week, coming week, to get into Washington and to report to me. And if they don't, I'm gonna get the First Army from Colorado and we're gonna go over, we're gonna take the base over. I don't care what kind of classified material you got. We're gonna rip this thing apart.
Eisenhower was going to invade
Yes,
Area 51.
Yeah, with the First Army.
So you go out with your superior.
Yes.
You fly out. You land. What happens? Can you describe this whole process? What you saw?
They took us the 13 or 15 miles south to S4 and like different garage door openings. And in these garage door openings, they had like different saucer crafts. The very first one had the Roswell craft in. It was kind of crashed up, but apparently every alien that was in it died except for a couple.
So you see the Roswell craft, and what are some of the others that you see?
Well, the Roswell craft was really strange because it looked like real heavy aluminum foil. We could rock next to it and you could rock it. The whole thing probably weighed 150, 300 pounds.
Could they tell what the source of power was of this craft?
Yeah, it was like a reverse gravitational thing of some kind. In fact, one later on, I got the mathematical code for reversing gravity in a 3x5 card. I guess there are different types of grays and so on.
How did you see that evidence?
Well, at the
Going to talk
later
about
on,
some type of a being here.
at S4, we viewed the autopsy film. And then the colonel said, what we've got in here is we're interviewing a gray alien.
All right, right there. How did you feel at that moment?
Well, I thought, boy, we had no idea we were going to see the real thing. All we saw was film.
You had to have a little bit of heart racing at that moment.
Talking about going to
My
see.
boss was able to go in and had like a partial interview with him.
So what did this gray alien look like? Could you describe him a little bit?
This one looked a little bit oriental.
So I'm just wondering if it looked almost human, what about this didn't look human?
No, it didn't look human as far as the skin tone and basically the shape of it and the size.
How was its head size compared with a normal human, for example?
Brain was kind of a little bit bigger. And some of the nose was very, very small. And the ears were just like holes. Mouth was very small.
Now, why were they bringing you out here at all, anyway, to see an alien? What was the point?
To go back and tell the president they actually had one.
So he did not know at this point if there was an alien at S4?
No.
What did you do then at Area? Were you done, or did you have other things to do with
Yeah,
S4?
so basically we were kind of done. Went back to Area 51. They took us into the main building. And there we saw a U-2, which of course we didn't know existed. And a model of the SR-71.
Yeah, the Blackbird.
So, but like I mentioned earlier, it was not a model of the current Blackbird.
Let us do a little code breaking here. When you go onto the Hegelian, onto these levels like this, what this man saw, his experience, what they do to you in the Hegelian is mix truth with something. Now, he talks about seeing an alien. Now you can read Ezekiel chapter 8, where the Most High takes Ezekiel and shows him in the temple, deep in the temple, what's going on in the secret of the temple, with all the creepy creatures and crawling things that they made by their sexing different animals and their different secrets. You can have one hand crawling on the ground. You can have a person's head on a pig. Mixture of it. You have Baphomet. Now, Ezekiel was a few thousand years ago. You had these creatures inside the temple. And here we go again with these creatures at Area 51 with some type of hybrid humans there that are so high and have such control that the President of the United States, General Dwight David Eisenhower, who was General of Generals of World War II, had to back down and go out of office with the little whimper in his speech. Now this is on a level de-Nazi invasion. These are Nazis. On a level they're Freemasons. On a level these demons these aliens are demons. The whole level there of alien and demons is the same thing. Daniel is an alien. Daniel is an alien if you want to look at it that way. His bloodline is alien. Just move the letter around in Daniel and you have alien. Take out the D, you have alien in Daniel. D-A-N-I-L-I-E-N. It's alien. That's why Daniel's line could see they were the prophetic ones. That's why Daniel had the protection of the Most High. Daniel didn't serve Baal or Baphomet. Daniel was a vegetarian. He stayed away from the blood, and he had the power, and he had the gift from the Most High. So, this is a very serious, convincing piece of evidence that brings the conspiracy to a point where I think people should be able to grasp something new and raise a new alarm in connecting these dots and trying to break higher code and be careful on the higher code of the Hegelian. You cannot discern on the topmost levels of the Hegelian dialectic. You won't be able to discern it because we are possessed. We are possessed and we are being played. And we are being played against each other through history. And we are set up as different peoples. And we have Hegelian dialectics that are played against each other because we're coded to be different. But we're told that we're the same. And that causes an internal problem because we're not the same. We are different. And the truth is being hidden. So that causes an eternal friction. And in that friction, lies grow and demons grow. This Most High warning to America and the world, you're under satanic possession by secret Nazi technology that has mind control over the earth and has put the earth into a zombie state through very high techniques, some of which I've not talked about in a long time, like the Schumann conspiracy, on how they have confused the difference between blue and white light, so that in the morning, that waking code that comes in our life, when the morning sunshine comes up and the white sky turns blue, that's a code to our bodies to wake up. That's a Schumann resonance. That resonance with these white lights and these blue lights and these clouds. A lot of things have been affected in our nature. So we don't know how to even fight the evil or who we are. There's so much conspiracy on us. We're in a zombie state. We're in a zombie state from the fluoride in the toothpaste and in the water that affects our pineal gland, so we cannot discern. We're in a zombie state because of the music, the media, the constant flashing of images and lights. It's put us brain into a candy state of sweetness. We don't want anything bitter. We can't handle anything bitter. Just give us the vibes. Give us the birthday vibes. And keep the people into a state of schism. Code them as these ones. Code that as those ones. Work them against each other. And then switch it around and put that one in there. And move it over here now. Put that fourth one in there. Put that over true. Now throw a false drop over there. I don't know what more to say exactly, because I want you to meditate on the significance, if you can, of that old gentleman's testimony. I'm going to put a link in there where you can look at the whole interview. I see it out on 2 sites. This man is testifying on his experience that the president wanted to invade Area 51. Right there in America, he needed to take a whole army and go to another base. And this is the man who fought all over Europe, who fought the Nazis in Italy, who got them out of Ethiopia, who fought them back, who fought the Japan War. And he had to back down in his own country. That was 60 years ago. And look where we are today. You know what's going to happen now? You don't see all the police, how it works. With all the little CIA technology and everything. Do you think there's any good planned here? These are Nazis.